Banking and finance represent the very heart of our society. They are real power. You've got something which is really striking or really quite scary. You've got a kind of financial system on which we all depend, which is basically out of control. And the question is, what can we do about it?
I saw the grand challenges, and one of the main issues within them was how to make banks serve the common good, which is a topic which fascinated me in the past, and I wanted to broaden my understanding on it.
It's a really interesting topic. I mean, it's very relevant and topical with all the financial crisis and everything. And I really just wanted to learn more about that and the causes of the crisis, and maybe thinking about solutions to prevent it happening again.
We want you to understand it, and we want you to make a difference. But whether this grand challenge is a success, it's going to come down to you. I really hope you can grip this and take it. I came here to try and make sense of what I'd gone through, because I didn't fully understand it, but also ultimately because I think people needed to know about what was going on, and it sort of weighed on my shoulders because I was sort of part of this process. Although I didn't do anything unethical, there was some responsibility because the banks were responsible, and I didn't. When you work there, you get so engrossed in it, you don't really have a helicopter view. And I really think I now understand a lot more. I understand a lot more about ethics. I understand a lot more about, whereas when you're ingrained in something, you lose sight of what the societal impacts.
This financial crisis is not a finance or economist or banking crisis. It is a big societal crisis. In the way it's played out in the restrictions on company budgets and the restrictions on country budgets and the restrictions on all kinds of spending and taxpayer money. So there's a very much broader agenda here for the students to investigate.
A lot of the students from my groups have come from different disciplines and different schools across the university, but they've come together on the grand challenges because they're interested in banking, and they're really interested in finding out how can we make banks serve the common good. My role generally is just to facilitate their discussion, to open up their minds to the challenge which we're set.
It mimics more what's going to be in the business environment, where you're not going to be talked at for 2 hours. You actually have to go into groups, you have to go into sub-teams, and you have to be able to produce reports and produce actual tangible things by yourself. I think the Grand Challenge is a great way of allowing us to actually give them those skills and to actually help them improve their employability in the process.
The groups were all really friendly, and our facilitator really helped push you in the right direction. I mean, we did lots of research on our own backs, and then we brought it all together, and we managed to write this report in a matter of days.
Here we have lecturers, amazing lecturers from from London, people who actually understand the crisis, what happened. And generally we have people who are from different backgrounds. Some of them are from sociology, some are from business, but they generally talk about the crisis, what was happening, and the people who were investment bankers. They gave us also information what happened and what they've been doing.
Banks and bankers failed in the crisis. Governments failed in the crisis, and all of us failed in the crisis. A banking system that has a sensible and appropriate risk appetite, and that is lending to governments to fund public investment, that's lending to companies to fund private investment, and lending to individuals to buy, for example, their first home. That is creating progress, it's creating happiness, and it's creating wealth. I think the banking system needs to be profitable once again, and hopefully we'll be doing all the things that you wanted to do, not only for shareholders, but for the common good when it starts becoming profitable again.
As the name suggests, our role is to expose and analyse the growing role of corporations and the influence that they exert on society and what impacts that has. Do you only work in the best interest of society when it's also profitable? Would you work in the best interest of society if it wasn't profitable? Besides some good things that banks may fund, they're also responsible for funding the most destructive projects in the world.
The banking industry has gone through an enormous period of focus, and the financial crisis deserves that. And so we should be having debates like this, but the key thing is practical observations for what we can do better.
So we've got a lot of background, but I think next week's when we can really crystallise and come up with those recommendations, each individually, about how we can go to Ben Bertrand and make it a better society.
They have been exposed to ideas in a fairly formal setting, an official setting. You know, this is the university, this has the authority of an intellectual institution, which they otherwise would not have been exposed to. And I think that's bound to make some sort of difference.
Obviously, I can say our group looked at micro and social finance as a solution to how we can get banks to serve the common good.
Right now it's a completely new industry which I think in the future will have great potential. What we tried to analyse was, for example, legislations and problems that the banking sector was facing in that sector in particular. And then we made recommendations for the government on how to improve this. And we noticed that one of the things it lacks is awareness, like general awareness also from the public and the banking sector as a whole.
It's quite a confusing subject, and for consumers to really understand it, it needs to be in quite a simple format that's quite engaging, and we believe that an animation does this really, really effectively. In our animation, we're actually comparing banks, building societies and credit unions. The differences between the three aren't that well known, so it's something that we're trying to highlight. It's quite good to have an outlet that you can do something that is still academic and still useful, but you've got this, you can do something creative which is actually going to help people. The financial crisis affected us all, like obviously in different ways, but it's something that's really, really important. And what we're doing about different alternatives to the big banks is something that is really, really useful to society, because it shows people and consumers that there are other options.
I think we've been really focused and really been brought together as a team and developed kind of really good rapport as a team, and working hard to produce our own bits of the report and then compile it into something we're really proud of. And so this 4,000 word report, that's kind of the final output, but we're also presenting that to our local MP, Ben Bradshaw, tomorrow. So that's kind of the final result of the 2 weeks, which is a really valuable experience in itself, and a great opportunity.
It was such a shock in 2008 that I think there's a really strong will, not just in the United Kingdom, but across the Western world, to make sure that it doesn't happen again. The real question is whether we get the right solutions to prevent it happening again.
Ben, I'm giving our conclusions, which he can put on his ministerial desk when he gets there. And so thanks very much, Ben. Let's show our appreciation for what's been done.
I was going to suggest that I send this to my front bench. It would be quite nice to get their formal response to your recommendations as well.
Let's watch that, keep an eye on it, feeling still engaged with the political process.
Right.
That will make it all worthwhile.
Good.
Right.
Good. And thank you very much. Really enjoyed it.
The main reason I came back and the main reason I did this challenge, and as you know, we spent a long time, because I want to educate the business students that are going out into the business world just a little bit of what it, the social value, of the importance of ethics, of the importance of trying to understand what this banking is all about.
It's certainly something which would I genuinely feel would have helped me with a lot of the projects that were given in our first, second, third, continuing on to our final year.
I think it was really good because it was just my first year, and the Grand Challenges is the first time that it has been done in the university, but I think that it was a really good initiative.
Every time I come back, there's more and more investment, there are more and more buildings, and it's changed a lot. But it is 20 years since I was here, and it's just always nice to come back. There's a level of familiarity about it, which is good. It's like coming home. But it's great to see the university continuing to develop and providing more and more facilities.
It's a challenge you're given, you have to work in teams and show your teamwork skills, so it makes you far more employable working as a group, and the Grand Challenges has given these first years that opportunity.
Unless somebody starts doing the sort of things that are capable of actually creating a better society, then we're never going to get anywhere. So I think we've provided a model of what social engagement in fundamental economic issues should be. There are very few such models.